Happy Travel Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our award-winning podcast, Smart People Travel Wise, a platform where we discuss all things about travel. I'm your host, Tennie Sumague, coming to you from my hometown of Woodside, Queens, New York. And on today's episode, we have a special treat for everyone. We have the team of Megaworld Hotels and Resorts, and we're going to focus on the Tatsulok or triangle travel experience concept. And we're going to focus a little bit more on a part of the Philippines that I've always wanted to go to, which is Cebu. But before I introduce the team of Megaworld Hotels and Resorts, I like to remind everybody, if you are watching this live, hashtag live, and if you are watching this on replay, hashtag replay. Make sure you tell us where you're coming from so we can acknowledge all of you. Please like us on Facebook and YouTube. You could also listen to this podcast on Amazon Fire, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or download the PHLV radio app available on all iOS and Android phones. So today we have the team of Megaworld Hotels and Resorts, and I'm going to give the floor to them and introduce them to our audience. And I'm happy to have them. They're chiming all the way in from the Philippines, and you can notice the time difference as well from where they are in the Philippines to New York. It's about a 12-hour time difference. So I'm going to introduce everybody who is here with me on the podcast from Megaworld Hotels and Resorts. So I'm going to give the floor to them and introduce them to our audience. So we'll start with the GM, or Joseph. That's
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Tennie. It's a pleasure to join your today's episode. To all your viewers, mabuhay, and I would like to greet you in our in our dialect here in Cebu. Maayong buntag, maayong hapon, or maayong gabi, wherever you are, wherever part of the globe you are here right now. Joseph Chongbian here, General Manager of Savoy Hotel Mactan. Here in Mactan, Cebu, there are two properties under Megaworld Hotels and Resorts. That is the Savoy Hotel Mactan, and right beside me is my very good friend, Johnson Del Valle, who unfortunately won't be able to join us today, and he is managing Belmont Hotel Mactan. This is just 2 out of the 12 properties of Megaworld Hotels and Resorts. I'll be sharing more details about our properties soon, and once again, maayong buntag, maayong hapon, or maayong gabi, kaninyong tanan.
And then we have Natalie Lim. Let's introduce yourself.
Hello, Tennie. How are you? Magandang umaga from Manila. I'm actually chiming in from Manila, but I'm the general manager of the Richmond Hotel, Iloilo. In Hiligaynon, we say maayong aga sa inyong tanan, whether you are in Manila or Iloilo. But if you're in New York, maayong gabi sa inyong tanan. Richmond Hotel Iloilo is the only property in the province of Iloilo. However, we're a stone's throw, a bus ride, or a car ride away from the 2 other properties in Western Visayas, which are in Boracay. We have the Savoy Hotel Boracay with our cluster general manager Avinash Menon, and our Belmont Hotel Boracay with our GM Maya Israel. So that makes up the Tatsulok part, the triangle of travel in the Visayas, where Region 6 and Region 7 are. And of course, we're only 3 of the, just like what GM Jot says, 12 properties, totaling 4,500 room keys for the Megaworld Hotels and Resorts. Our other properties in the NCR region, we will talk more about those later. Thank you.
And thank you. And then we have one of my favorite things I love to do wherever I travel, especially to the Philippines, is food. And we have one of the best chefs on our podcast, Chef Ariel Castaneda of Richmond Hotel Iloilo. Let's have you introduce yourself. And I do want to ask you, Chef, you could also explain why the food in specifically in Iloilo is probably top notch and one of the best places to eat. So many people love to travel to eat.
Hi, Miss Lenny. Hello, mabuhay everyone, and greetings from the city of love, not from the city of Iloilo, and of course from the food haven of the Philippines. Actually, the food here is very hearty, and personally, I'm born and raised here in Iloilo, and I never get tired of eating Ilonggo food. So we'll talk more of that in a while, and thank you so much for having us today.
And then we have on Nichi Torres of Savoy Boracay. Nichi.
I escaped to one of the best islands in the world, Boracay, Philippines. Maayad-ayad nga adlaw. I'm Michi Torres, Director of Sales and Marketing for Savoy Boracay.
And lastly, we have Jean Sai from Savoy Hotel Manila. Hello, Jean.
Hello, good morning. Good morning here from the Philippines and magandang gabi or good evening there in New York. I'm Jean and I represent Savoy Hotel Manila. I'm the Assistant Director of Sales. Good morning to all. Hello.
So we have an amazing team of and staff from Megaworld's hotels and resorts. And I'm going to start our conversation off because many of our viewers here in the States, when they travel to the Philippines, the first thing is first they have to arrive in Manila. So maybe I should ask Jean this because you are in Manila.
Yes,
But
I'm actually the hub or the gateway to all the other Mega World hotels and resorts property in Visayas and all that. So yeah, your question
So-
again, sorry. I got really excited.
well, we're gonna start off opening about Manila because a lot of our travelers and our viewers, when you travel to the
Mhm.
Philippines, everyone has to travel to Manila.
Manila, yes, that is correct.
And I want to ask, or everyone could chime in, but
Mhm.
usually when people travel anywhere, people, travelers would the start off is you have to travel to the capital city, and here it's in Manila. So maybe for somebody who's first time traveling to the Philippines and they're staying in Manila, and of course they have to stay in one of your hotels.
That is definitely right. I was just about to say.
So let me ask, what do you have to offer clients in at your hotel, Jean?
Okay, first off, Savoy Hotel Manila is branded as a four-star hotel here in Newport City. It is actually about 350 meters away from the IA Terminal 3, or say about 20-30 minutes away from the other airport hub here in Metro Manila. We boast about 684 rooms with a total of five categories in our property. So we also have dining outlets. We have restaurants and Savannah Bar wherein they can actually have their um afternoon cocktails and try some of our food. Yes. And as mentioned, as we are also hailed or awarded as the Asia's airport leading hotel by the what do you call this? The World Travelers Awards. Yes.
Amazing. And um about those awards, like what is are you so proud of with with winning those awards? What is like that feeling, or what makes you proud to about this brand of hotel that stands out from other hotels in Manila, or I would just say throughout the Philippines?
For that, Savoy Hotel Manila is one of the Mega World hotels and resorts property. Maybe what I'm proud of my property is the service that we provide to our clients. Not only that we are very accessible to the airports, but we give service from the heart, and that is why our clients keeps on coming back to us. Yeah, maybe it's just trying to be or being very service oriented hotel. Yeah, that's what I'm proud about my property. Thank you very
And for the experience in Manila, and we'll segue from because the the starting point of anyone who travels should be in Manila, and I want to put this out there to our viewers. Um, the airport from the actual city center of Manila is only about 10-15 minutes, well, without traffic, obviously, because most airports are very far from the city center. Like Narita is very far. Narita, Hong Kong is far, so is Seoul, Incheon. But what's great about Manila after from the airport, it's not far from the city. It's itself. And for anyone who travels, who has an interest in traveling to the Philippines, and um, for those who are traveling for the first time to Manila, and feel free, anyone could jump in. How long should somebody's a traveler or travelers spend in Manila before heading out to Cebu?
Well, I could say if coming from other countries, they could maybe spend about 5 days here to try out some food, especially have a time to go to Binondo area where you can, have a food crawl of your Chinese favorites. Yeah, and then maybe afterwards, try out our entertainment city nearby, and then travel to whichever destination that they're, looking after, or they want the travel destination they wanted to go to, like Cebu or Boracay or Iloilo.
Hi,
And
Tenny. Can I just chime in?
yeah, chime in. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Natalie.
Well,
Yes, Miss
because I was
Sarah,
born
thank
and
you
raised. I
very
was
much.
actually. You're welcome, Jean. I was actually born and raised in Manila. I grew up in Manila. And though I live now in Iloilo, I'm actually now in Manila. And yeah, Jean is right. I think you'll have to spend about 5 days to 7 days in Manila if you'd like to. First of all, reality check. Yes, there is traffic in Manila. It's worse than New York, and
Yes.
traffic is very bad. So there are places where you can go where you just spend the whole day there. For example, you can visit the oldest Chinatown in the world, which is Binondo. And that's where our other property is, Lucky Chinatown. Hotel Lucky Chinatown offers you proximity to everything that's in that area, from Binondo to the food crawl, like what Jean said. Recently we were offering food crawls to visitors of Hotel Lucky Chinatown. Hotel Lucky Chinatown is attached to Lucky Chinatown Mall, where there's also a museum. So it's really not just there to eat and to shop, but also to learn more about the history of the Filipino Chinese in the Philippines. And then after that, you can go towards Entertainment City, the new area where entertainment such as casino shows, and there's even a theater in that area where Kingsford Hotel is. We have over 500 rooms at the Kingsford Hotel, which is really, if you think about it, it's just an 8-minute ride, 8-minute drive from the airport using NAIA X, the Skyway, because it goes directly to where Kingsford Hotel is. And from Kingsford, it's just a short stroll to 3 casinos, and it's a short ride away from the Mall of Asia, where Balikbayas, I think, like to go to Mall of Asia.
Oh, I love the
Um,
mall. Yeah.
yeah,
And mall is life. I have to
Mall
say.
is live, right?
And it's just also, Mall of Asia is one of the biggest malls in the Philippines, or I should even say it's Southeast Asia too. And
Yeah.
a friend of mine had even asked me, like, um why are there so many malls in the Philippines? I was like, well, number one, it's really hot.
Yes. So people go to hang out and chill, literally chill in the malls.
Yeah, and it's just part of the culture. That's where everybody is, not only for aircon, but people,
Aircon.
they shop, they hang out, they, eat, and and it's huge.
Mhm.
And it's just that's just part of the culture. That's the life. They Filipinos like the mall, and I love the
Yes.
mall.
And you know what? I know Balikbayans like to go to Green Hills. You know Green Hills, right?
Oh yes,
Mhm.
Green Hills.
Yes. So,
That's where you can bargain and get
uh-huh,
something, cheap,
uh-huh,
or knockoffs. And the knockoffs are pretty good. I
uh-huh.
remember I got myself a Tory Burch bag. Well, not the, but it looked real, and then I knocked it down, and I don't know how to speak Tagalog, so I had my sister, my ate, who speaks Tagalog, to translate. I said, knock it down, come on, whatever, how many. I was like, nine. I would pay $8. Do the math of the how many pesos is that. I am not sure. Is that like I know, is it 1,000 pesos? Is
Yeah, it's maybe a
pesos?
1,000 pesos.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
maybe
think
a
that's,
1,000 pesos. Hmm.
yeah, but that's
I mean, Green Hills is also where you get real pearls. There's a pearl market in Green Hills, and a lot of our Balikbayans like to go to Green Hills. I know this for a fact because when I used to live abroad, everyone would always say, "Are you going to Green Hills? Can you get me some pearls?" And these are real South Sea or freshwater pearls. They're all from Mindanao, or Davao, and they sell those in Green Hills. And we have a property that's very near to Green Hills, which is the Richmond Hotel Ortigas de San Miguel Avenue. It's a short ride to Green Hills, and it's right behind Mega Mall too. So
another
um,
mall.
another mall. But yeah, so there's a lot of things to do in Manila prior to flying out. But don't forget that Cebu now gets international flights too, right, Jot? There are international flights going
Yes.
into Mactan, I think from from
Matan.
LA, from
Not
LAX.
yet. Not yet.
Not
For
yet.
LAX,
Okay.
we did have a direct flight coming from LAX. This is pre-pandemic. Based on intel, no plans as of the moment, but hopefully it will happen the first or second quarter of next year that we'll have direct flights to Cebu coming from LAX.
Yeah, because their airport is awesome. They have an amazing
Love it.
international,
Yes.
beautiful, award-winning. And I know for a fact that United now flies to Manila. So there are additional flights for all of our Balikbayans coming back to the Philippines.
Yeah, recently United had our non-direct flights from San Francisco to Manila, and here from New York, PAL, Philippine
Mhm.
Airlines, also flies direct. That's what I usually fly, because it's nice, the
Mhm.
whole the direct flight. And because my mom is old, it's nicer when you fly direct with a senior citizen, rather than
Yes, then
going
having to transfer.
to transfer wherever, from whether it's Japan, Hong Kong,
Mhm.
Singapore, or Incheon, Korea. It just makes it a lot smoother. It might be more expensive, but you save a lot of time when you fly direct.
Mm. Mhm.
Now, because there's no incoming flights from the States to Cebu, everyone has to fly into Manila. So how long is that flight from Manila to the international airport, the Cebu airport?
Great, thank you so much, Tenny. It was mentioned by Jean earlier that, yeah, for all our guests flying into the Philippines from the United States, yes, stay in Manila for 5 days. After 5 days, just jump on the plane and fly at least 1 hour coming here to Cebu. Just 1 hour. There are a lot of flights coming in with different airlines, and it was mentioned earlier. Yes, we did have international. I'm sorry, not international, but direct flights coming from the U.S. This is pre-pandemic. We're crossing our fingers. Hopefully, it will happen in the first quarter of next year so we can have your viewers visit us during Sinulog time. And aside from that, if we have listeners coming from Switzerland, we also had direct flights to Cebu coming from Switzerland. This is pre-pandemic, and hopefully all these flights will be coming in. But as of right now, Tenny, what we're taking advantage of are the direct flights coming from Korea. We have 7 direct flights coming in daily. We have around 2 flights daily coming from Taiwan, daily flights coming from Hong Kong. But let's just focus in Manila. There are a lot of flights coming in. So the moment you land here in Cebu, when the cabin crew opens the door, the first thing you're gonna smell is lechon. and it just
Oh,
smells
my
deep fire.
favorite.
And everybody is just so quiet. You can hear the crisp of the
Yeah.
balat that you love to eat. Because the moment it's a lovely airport, I can stay there for a few hours. If I travel domestically, I don't mind going there early because it's just a lovely airport. It's like a mall, and I'm sure you're gonna love it as well. But the moment you step out of the airport, that's where you can see all the stalls. Everybody's selling lechon, everybody's selling mangoes. And after you enjoy the lechon, it's just going to take 15 minutes. Just for 15 minutes, it brings you here to the Mactan New Town. That's where Savoy Hotel Mactan and Belmont Mactan Hotel is located. And what I really love about this location is just it is a city within the city. So there are a lot of developments. It's safe. A lot of places are open 24 hours. And one thing I'm very proud of, this may be the only township that has a beach. That's a beach, so it's a few minutes walk. You're at the Mactan Newtown Beach, and a few developments coming in. Maybe in the next 2 years, we're going to have our convention center. There will be casinos. There will be shopping malls for you, Tenny. So, yeah, plan your trip and come visit us. But before that all comes in, please book a flight by January because we talk about the festivals here in the Visayas. So every third Sunday of January, that's the Sinulog Festival here in Cebu.
Mm.
So flights are going to be quite expensive. So I suggest you book your flights right now after this call.
And I always say, and well, you had me at the lechon because I had mentioned
Oh,
I love Cebu
never get
lechon
tired of
to
it. It's
to
never
our
a
viewers.
celebration without lechon. Yeah, it's never a celebration. Whatever you're celebrating, no matter how little it is or whatever small that celebration is, you will always have to celebrate it with lechon. You can find it everywhere. And of course, the balat that you love.
If everyone, if for our non-Filipino viewers, what balat is, it's like pork rinds, kind of.
Yeah.
Maybe that's probably like the best description of what balat. It's just the skin of the pig, and there's just something special about Cebu lechon that's that stands out if in comparison to the um lechon that you like normally see, or even Spanish lechon. It's just what you had said, Jot. It's just
Yeah,
crispy.
crispy. And the flavor, you don't need any sauce. That's it. You just eat it with rice, of course.
Yes. And I do want to ask about Mactan, a little bit about that. I have read it's one of the most the be- the the beaches there are beautiful. Well, that and Boracay, one of the
Mhm.
most popular, and we'll get to Boracay in a bit. But what is special when you the beaches about Mactan? Like what makes it uh beautiful in comparison to like any of the beaches in the Philippines?
Great. Thank you so much for the question, Tenny. Yeah, there's a reason why Mactan Island was awarded one of the best islands here in the Philippines a few years back, right? Let me get back to you. I forgot the author of that awards, but yes, Mactan was awarded as one of the best islands because of the famous beaches that we have. It's all natural, and of course, based on the history. You mentioned earlier before we started recording, that your mom is very familiar with Lapu-Lapu. So Mactan right now is actually labeled as the historic resort city, but there's so much history here in the island. This is the place this is where a lot of famous guitar makers live. So once you go around the island, so a lot of our tourists really pass by Mactan New Town to really bring home some guitars. So we have a lot of locals here who make really good guitars. And if we talk about the beaches, it's all natural, and we are also very famous of the onshore diving, meaning we can just start diving from the shore. You just dive, you can see really beautiful corals. If I may just share, we're starting to rebuild the island of Mactan as of the moment. If you may have heard, back in 2021, a huge storm hit us, so it badly affected our corals as well. But the rebuilding process is still ongoing, but a lot of tourists still take advantage of seeing these areas. But again, because of the beaches, it's so easy, white sand beach, and just a few steps after that, you see a lot of beautiful corals. So it's one of the reasons why Megaworld Hotels and Resorts, us hoteliers under Megaworld Hotels and Resorts, are very proud of the beaches that we have here in Mactan and in Boracay.
And from what I know from friends who have been into Cebu and those who love diving, it's one of the
Mm,
best places to dive, as you mentioned, the coral reefs, and
the coral
um,
reefs.
that's probably what a lot of those who love diving why they want to go to the Philippines, specifically in Cebu. But I'm gonna
You don't have to
segue
travel
into
far, huh?
right.
Because you don't have to travel far. 15 minutes from the airport, you're there. Book a pump boat, then you're there. You can visit different islands because, of course, the Philippines has 7,600 islands, and Mactan alone is responsible for 100 plus. So, wow, it's like a buffet of islands.
I love that, the buffet of islands where you just see all these beautiful coral reefs and the white sand beaches, and anytime, yeah, you know, it's the place to relax and enjoy with history.
With history, agree? Yeah.
And I do want to mention now about Boracay because that's actually the first beach I've ever learned about in Cebu. And I'm going to go to Nichi and ask about Boracay. It's been one of the most popular beaches in the Philippines by, it's always mentioned by the artistas. And from what
Oh, yes.
from what I've started to learn about the Philippines outside of Manila. And tell us a little bit more about Boracay.
Hi. Yes, yes. Correct. No, Boracay is always named as one of the best islands in the Philippines and in the world. Because of number one of its powdery white sand beach that you can only see in the island. Now, point of entry, how do you get to Boracay? So, if coming from your place, from US or Canada, of course, we visit Manila first. Then from Manila, as what Jim Joseph was mentioning, is just around 45 minutes, maximum 1 hour, you will reach already Boracay. Then from there on, we have transfers. I think what makes it exciting is until now coming from the airport, you really have a quick boat ride to go to the island. That's really the exciting part. That's until now it's there. Now, Boracay, the whole island is a stretch of white sand. It's really a white sand with a lot of hotels, restaurants in there. You know. Now we have a place there. It's our township. We call it the Boracay New Coast. It's 150 hectares. We have two hotels there. So we have Savoy Hotel Boracay and we have Belmont Hotel Boracay. Now we have our own beach. We have our own beachfront that's 300-meter long. 300 meter of white sand. Imagine that. So, and that 300-meter white sand, it has a free Wi-Fi. So you can just work there if you want. If you want to feel lazy for the whole day, just read your pocketbook, read your ebook, bring your iPad. You can do it. And the best thing is you can order a beer since we have a bar there and enjoy the day. However, if you're on the adventurous side, there's a lot of activities to do in Boracay also. Parasailing, helmet diving, name it, it's all there, no? The activities. Then in the evenings, we have a lot of restaurants, a lot of bars. Depends if you're into the club, if you're into a live band, we have it all there. It's all there in Boracay Island. And after all the activities, if you're very tired, we have a spa that can cap up the day and give you a good massage and take a good sleep in our hotel. Yeah, now that's Boracay as a whole. So again, Boracay, if you're into a lazy day, I mean, you feel just like sitting in front of the beach and doing nothing and reading your pocketbook. Yes, we have it. Or if you're the adventurous type, we have it. Or if you're a party animal, let's party at night, we do have it. Welcome to Boracay.
So it caters to a very pretty much for all. You have kids who could do the activities, and then you have those who like those young 20-year-olds, 20 plus, who like to party, the nightlife. They can also
Yes.
enjoy Boracay. And it's funny that you have mentioned free Wi-Fi, because I want to say here, like, why would you want Wi-Fi when everything here, like, you just appreciate the beauty and the nature of what
Yeah,
Boracay.
Tenny, because we also have some guests that sits in front of the beach and just reads their ebook using their iPad and for the whole day until they get all canned while drinking A cold San Miguel beer. Oh wow, it's a good one.
Or kids, it's this generation nowadays, they can't we I mean, I know I can't live without Wi-Fi. Sometimes
See,
you
that's
just
for
have
all of
to,
us. That's for all of us.
it's free for all.
Yeah.
um but I do want to ask both about Mactan and Boracay. And in the Philippines, there's wet season and dry season, right? And what's pretty much, even if it's wet season or dry season, like there's always good weather to go to the beach. But when is the best time to go to these places? Or I would say maybe, the best time weather wise to go to Mactan and Boracay.
For me, for Mactan, Tenny, it has been totally different the past few years, right? Like what you mentioned, it's always less wet and dry. But based on, let's say, history, if I just base it this year and last year, the best time to really visit Mactan right now, or even the entire Visayas, would be around, let's say, best months would be March and April. March and April, right? So this is the summer here in the Philippines, and this is the Holy Week, and we're very Mactan and Boracay very famous every time, every Holy Week. So if you ask me, that will always be the best time to come here and visit for the beach. But like what Nietzsche mentioned earlier, if you're here for the parties, it doesn't matter if it's rainy or not. Come here in January and celebrate Sinulog with us.
That's always my favorite time to go, is January. Would you agree about that? Also, Dichi, January,
Yes,
best
yes.
time?
Actually, I would recommend also for the island. It's December to May before, but now until December to June. No, why December? Of course, the balikbayans are coming in, so we will wait for you, Tenny, when you'll go back to your homeland and try to visit our properties, and of course, Mactan and Boracay to visit, and the January also the activities and the summer season where it gets really hot and the water in the beach is just warm, very good enough for us to take a good swim. I
And I
think those are the
expect,
days.
and I want to be, once I step foot on in Cebu, I need to be graced with lechon, with the apple
Yes,
in the mouth,
yes.
with rice.
With rice, yes, with rice, of course, always. Don't forget the rice.
The rice in you call that GM pusok,
We call it
pusok,
puso,
right?
right?
It's wrapped
Puso.
in banana leaf, right?
Coconut leaf.
A
Oh,
coconut leaf. Sorry, sorry.
no.
You should try that.
Beautiful. That's just even if it's for like, it just makes the rice look so pretty. Sometimes like you don't even want to eat it because it's so presented so beautifully.
True.
I do want to ask about Iloilo, and that's actually one place that, well, my cousin's wife is from Iloilo, Natalie, and tell us a little bit more about the town of Iloilo.
Well, Iloilo is a province in the Western Visayas region of the Philippines. We belong to the cluster of Region 6, where Boracay is. Iloilo is made up of different provinces. However, we stay in Iloilo City, which is a city of about 450,000 people. So it's not very big. It's not very big. Um, it's a place where everybody knows everybody. I think it works in a way and not in some ways, but and Iloilo is a city with 7 different districts, and a lot of the food that we enjoy, and even I, growing up in Manila, oh my God! And I was telling this to Chef when the instant noodles, the lapas batchoy came out. I thought it was the best noodles in the world. It was the best cup noodles in the world, and never really realizing that La Paz is actually a district in Iloilo. So whenever you eat the La Paz Bat Choy, it's actually representing one of the 7 districts in Iloilo City. But I think the best person to talk about food in Iloilo would be our executive chef, Ariel, who's making muni muni right here, just watching all of us. But yeah, Iloilo is a city that is very close to the coastline. Um, it sort of reminds me of Oahu because you're in the city, you have shopping malls, but a short drive away would be a shoreline. We're
Mhm.
also very near to the Guimaras Islands, home of the. Jot will refute this, but Guimaras Islands is home of the best mangoes in the world. In fact, the mangoes are very protected in Guimaras. That whenever you enter the island, they'll check if you're bringing mangoes with you because they don't want their mango variety to be tainted with other kinds of mangoes. And the Guimaras Mango Festival is every year in May, where you can eat as much mangoes as you want. I think for 100 pesos, this is just less than $2. So, and we're very near. We're like a 15-minute boat ride from Guimaras. In the northern part of Iloilo, there are also sandbars and beaches that are not very well known, but are just as beautiful. We have Concepcion, we have Gigantes Islands, the island of the giants, if you translate it loosely. It's made up of Gigante Norte and all of these Sicogon Islands is there. There are high-end resorts down there. Those are still part of Iloilo. But for us, we're selling Iloilo as a city. It's become a hub for meetings, incentives, and conferences. It's a MICE destination because we have a convention center that can house up to 3,500 to 5,000 people. There's not a lot of hotels in the city. We do have our own hotel and some other international and local brands where people can have a choice, a plethora of choices according to their budgets. You'll find a lot of Ilonggos who are actually from the outskirts of Iloilo City, who are in the US. And a lot of them come home in December because, we have the longest Christmas in the world, right? It starts in September all the way to December. The Philippines has the longest Christmas season. As soon as the Burr months start, which is September, October, November, and December, people start singing Christmas songs. So we're not too far off. We're half a month away from the start of our official Christmas season. Balikbayans have to come home on Christmas because, of course, we have the best Christmas celebration in the world. We have, aside from lechon, other many different kind of food depending on which region you're from. And then for us, a lot of our balikbayans from Iloilo and also from Cebu extend to January because Sinulog is 3rd week of January, Dinagyang is 4th week of January. So you can actually literally jump from one Merry Christmas, Nichi. You literally jump from one festival to the other. And these are special festivals that are rooted not just in the party, but also in tradition and culture and religion. So we're very big on that. So that's, Iloilo for you in a nutshell.
And it's funny because I think there in Cebu, in all places, Boracay, Mactan, Iloilo, you do have a different kind of white Christmas in comparison to
Yes, it's a white sand Christmas.
It's a white sand Christmas.
Yes, personally, I like to go to Boracay in December. I think it's the best time to be in Boracay. It's not too hot. It's not raining. And it's the best time. I mean, it's different to celebrate Christmas at the beach, right? But yeah, it's an experience. It's an experience.
And it seems that there's so many different festivals that go on in the area, and I do want to ask about what's so special, what's special about those festivals? Like, does the town or the come to life, especially for both the locals and tourists?
Mm-hmm. Jot, did you want to share yours for Sinulog?
Yeah.
I have mine for Dinagyang.
Yeah, sure. For Sinulog, it goes back to Lapu-Lapu again.
Ati-atihan for Baraka,
Yes,
ati-atihan for Aklan, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the biggest celebration that we have here in Cebu would be the Sinulog. Again, that's happening on the 3rd week of January. And it always goes back to history. In 1521, the Battle of Mactan between Lapu-Lapu and Magellan. So that's how we started the Christianity here, not just here in Cebu, but here in the Philippines. So we celebrate Santo Niño. So I carry him with me everywhere. I don't sure if he's I carry Santo Niño everywhere. So we celebrate it. This is his feast day. What's so good about this? If ever you come visit Cebu, just like what GM Nat mentioned earlier, for tourists, they come here. If you're here for the parties, we have that also. But we have a lot of balikbayans who comes home for December for Christmas and New Year, and they extend until January for the Sinulog Festival because we have a lot of balikbayans who calls it panaat or in their panata to really visit the Basilica de Señor Santo Niño here every Sinulog. So may it be for parties, if you come here for culture or for your religion, we have it. We have it very well organized around the city. I'll be very honest. A lot of tourists maybe got turned off the past few years because Sinulog turned out to be a huge party now instead of a religious celebration. But I'm proud to say that it started just last year that the city was able to organize it properly, right? That in some areas in the city, this is where you do for religious travel. So this is where you go for parties, and we just have to make sure that on the day of the feast of Señor Santo Niño, there will be no parties around the city. We just have to make sure that we respect the entire meaning of this celebration. So that's happening. That's only happening on the third Sunday of January. But let me just emphasize that this is a month-long celebration here in Cebu. So if you talk about January after Christmas, after New Year, the celebrations doesn't stop. Everybody's thinking about Sinulog this time. So while gearing towards the third Sunday of January, there will be a lot of pocket celebrations happening around the city. So yeah, maybe for religious tours, maybe for culture, but the parties are there as well. That's for Sinulog Festival.
And then
Yeah,
Natalie,
and
you
for
want
us, yeah. Yeah, for us for Dinagyang is celebrated at every fourth weekend of January. So yeah, just take a short flight from less than an hour's flight from Cebu. Actually, you just sit and have a drink of water and you're there. You haven't even settled down in your seat and you're already in Iloilo. And Iloilo has Dinagyang Festival. It's over 50 years old. And just like the Sinulog, this is rooted not just in the party, but in celebrations, but it's actually a celebration of Señor Santo Niño, which is also the Sinulog. It's rooted deeply rooted in religion and tradition and heritage. And in the latter years, of course, with the food, with the festivities, no? We have for Dinagyang, we have the Kasadyaan, which is also, it starts off with religious activities, with mass, with processions, that's rooted in the churches here in Iloilo. And then we have the tribal competition where different schools, it's a very inclusive competition, different schools put together dances, marvelously choreographed dances. In fact, the Dinagyang Warriors, Tribu Pariaanon, won the champion at the Aliwan Fiesta here in Manila just last week, 2 weeks ago. So we're actually considered the festival city of the Philippines because we have beautiful choreographed dances with drum beats that are like no other. But also very inclusive because we also have it in the barangays, in the different communities around Iloilo. So from Thursday onwards, you'll see partying, you'll see food fests, food fairs. In 2024, we have more plans to have an expo at the Iloilo Convention Center. And we have the Batchoy Festival. So again, food is part of the highlights of the festival. For us in the hotel, we are in the center of all the activities. Recently, we launched Illumination, which is a warriors dance, dancing across the streets at night. And so their costumes are lit with LED lights, you know. So it's really something different, something to see, something that's very different. We will bring back the floats where different groups will organize floats like you would see in Macy's at the parade.
the Thanksgiving
Something like
parade.
that. Yeah, the Thanksgiving parade of Macy's. So it's something like that. Iloilo is a highly urbanized city. We have beautiful streets. We have the longest linear park in the Philippines, which is the Iloilo River Esplanade. We have a very clean river where we have dragon boat paddlers paddling on weekends. And we also plan next year to have a dragon boat festival to celebrate our very clean river that runs across Iloilo. We also have at the end of Dinagyang, after that, we have, of course, a religious festival, which is the Fiesta de Candelaria, which is the Feast of Haro. And then after that, we have the Parao Regatta. It's one of the biggest regatta festivals in the Philippines, I think in Asia. And this is held in Villa in Arevalo, which is one of the districts of Iloilo, where you'll find really beautiful hand-painted sailboats sailing along Villa. And yeah, so those are the things you'll see in Iloilo, aside from the food, of course.
Yeah, so many food and festivals is one of the reasons why people should travel to Ilo, or I should say even just Cebu. And that's what makes, the Philippines it's really more fun in the Philippines, especially in
really
Cebu,
is.
huh?
It really is. It's more fun. It's more fun, really. From up in the mountains to down to the ocean and to the rivers, you'll find them all here. Yeah.
I'm going to segue from festivals to my favorite topic is food. And I think I forgot who mentioned if it was Jot or Nietzsche about dried mangoes. And that's like my childhood staple, specifically Cebu dried mangoes. And I want to maybe ask the chef this, Chef Ariel this. Is Cebu like, you hit the word mangoes because that's one of the most popular fruits, well loved by a lot of Filipinos and even Filipino Americans. Chef Ariel, I want to ask you this, like a question about mangoes. Well, number one, do you like mangoes? And is it something
Yes,
that
actually.
I mean? Yeah, broad question, but something about you being a chef. I'm sure like you've had to play around with mangoes a lot. And tell me from breakfast, lunch, and dinner, what are some of varieties that you could play around or cuisines that you could play around first with mangoes?
Yes, actually. Thank you, Miss Tennie. Well, yeah, personally, I love mangoes. Since I was little, it's been a staple. No? Every, like you've mentioned, each meal period, you can actually enjoy mangoes itself. You can have it for breakfast as the fruit itself for lunch. And the versatility of mango actually is shown in the different dishes that we can offer. Number one, you can use it for a savory dish. You can use it for desserts, and highlighting actually our national fruit. It's actually one of the initiatives that Megaworld Hotels and Resorts has right now, and uh, together with our Sampaguita project, we included mangoes as one of the main ingredients of the dishes that we have. So, yeah, I think mangoes is uh, considerably one of the best fruits to experience here in the Philippines.
Would you say that the experience of eating mangoes, or I should say the entire food experience, because to many, and I had thought, Pampanga was the culinary capital of the Philippines, but I had interviewed somebody in the Philippine consulate here in New York, and he had mentioned one of his favorite food destinations in the Philippines is in Iloilo. And I want to know from your point of view, chef, what makes Iloilo probably an destination for food.
For food, yeah. Well, recently we were actually hailed as the food haven of the Philippines, and aside from that, I think one of the best or the main factor is that 30 to 40% of the endemic ingredients is found here in the Western Visayas or here in Iloilo. And there's so much to do with the produce and the abundance of ingredients that's available here. And I think as a chef and as a cocinero here in Iloilo, I enjoy experimenting and looking at the possibilities on how to highlight these local ingredients and bring it there, bring it outside, or bring it in the modern table and showcase it, most especially to our hotels and resorts, and to really promote Ilonggo cuisine. That it can be competitive in the market and generally accepted as well.
What is Ilonggo cuisine? What is their specialty? Because I don't even know. I know that that's a dialect part. That's all I know
Oh yeah,
about Ilonggo.
Miss Nat has mentioned it earlier that we're known for the bok choy, but there's so much more than the bok choy. We're also known for the pancit molo. In the Visayas, we're also known for the chicken and asal. And I think those heritage cuisine that Iloilo has in general could really play a big role. No? And not to mention in asal, we're offering it actually um, at all our properties of Megaworld Hotels and Resorts. And most recently, Inasal has been our bestseller for all of the properties.
So what is one of the most popular dishes that Mega World offers? And I'll have you, or you have mentioned one of the posts, or maybe you could say one of your recommended dishes.
Well, annually we create as a group in the F&B council that we have, we curate different kinds of MHR signatures. We call them MHR signatures. These are the top dishes of all the different properties that we have. So each chef of each property has to pitch in their best dish. And I think I'd like to consider all of those dishes as the bestseller of Megaworld Hotels and Resorts, since that it has been a collaboration and of all the chefs, of all the culinary leaders of Megaworld Hotels and Resorts.
And now, do you offer? Because I know I'm gonna ask this from my friend who's actually vegan, and I joke with her because she's African American, and then I was like, I was like, well, I mean, I'm half Ilocano, so I grew up eating vegetables, but I was like, it's rare to find a place where you could eat something where it doesn't have pork, chicken.
Well, yes. Personally, I'm a meat eater, but yes, we became more conscious right now because of the dynamics in the food industry. And recently, we also launched some meat-free products here at Richmond to really cater to those who are vegan, vegetarian, and those who are not really meat heavy. And we're proud to say that there's a lot of possibilities and actually dishes that we can offer, since that we have a very dynamic kitchen and we'd like to cater as much as possible to the requirements of our clientele.
And aside from dried mangoes and Cebu lechon, what else and bok choy? What else is I would just say what else is Cebu known for in terms of food? Because when you go to Davao, everyone knows durian, mangosteen, tuna, and then in Laguna, where my father's from, I always look for espasol and buko pie. What is and actually some hometown staples of say Iloilo or any of the Cebu areas that we have talked about.
Great, thank you so much, Tenny. Aside from lechon and the balat and the dried mangoes here in Cebu, one thing that we're very famous of, if I might just focus on Mactan Island or here in Lapu-Lapu City, it's called sutukil, right? It's sutukil. Su for sugba, tu for tuwa or kilaw, that means grilled, for soup, or if you eat it raw. So it's actually a mode of cooking, Tenny, that if I may be very specific, there are a lot of restaurants located at the Mactan Shrine or Lapu-Lapu Shrine where the Battle of Mactan actually happened. It's just 5 minutes walk away from our hotel. So there are a lot of restaurants there. So we call it the Sotokil area, where it is a huge marketplace where you just purchase all the meats that you like, the fish, pork or chicken, and you bring it to the restaurant, and it's up to you on how they're going to cook it. It's either you have it
Oh,
suba or grilled, two for tuwa, or turn it into a soup, or kilo, or just eat it raw. So it's a mode of cooking that's very famous here, and how we upgraded it here somehow in Megaworld Hotels and Resorts, because during the pandemic, a lot of our guests got really conscious in terms of food safety, right? And nobody really wanted to go to the marketplace. So what we did is we brought it here in the hotel. It was an upgraded kind of sutukil that it's prepared right in front of the guests to make sure that it's prepared fresh. So we're still famous. Cebu is still famous with that kind of concept. It's so to kill, not just here in Mactan. If you visit a lot of restaurants, even inside the malls, a lot of Filipino restaurants are already applying this kind of concept so that you will have the freedom on how you want it made. Right? If you want to have your chicken, then it's really up to you. It's your choice. We base it on your preference and how you want it cooked. So aside from the lechon, if you talk about sutukil, it's here in Mactan Island.
Awesome. I always like that. I like the whole like it's kind of like you make your it's kind of like when if you ever go to Korean barbecue, you cook it
Yeah,
yourself, or
exactly.
shabu shabu.
There
Um
you go.
I that's probably the best description. And I'm thinking about that. I'm like, oh my God, I'd love, you know, my octopus or chicken grilled, and then
Mhm.
one part fried, and one as a
Yes,
soup. You
exactly.
you have everything in one.
Correct, correct, correct. So that is the entire concept of Sutukil.
And now Chef Arya had mentioned, and this is a question for all you. And this was actually mentioned to me with Lynette before we planned this, is the Sampagita project. And I was telling Lynette, like, my when I think of Sampagita, there's just kind of this, like, this, it is the national flower of the Philippines. And I just have also just this, it just has this negative connection. Well, for me, as somebody who goes to the Philippines, because when I think of Sampaguita, I just think of kids selling it in the street. But then there's more to the history of Sampaguita, and you have this project, and I'll have any of you come just chime in on what Mega World has on that Sampaguita project.
well, the Sampaguita project, Tenny, is something that we're very proud of. Megaworld Hotels is the biggest and largest homegrown brand in the Philippines. And right now, we want to continue to promote everything and anything that's Filipino. I think it's just right. And we feel it's time for us to put the focus on local items that we have forgotten that are ours. The Sampaguita is a native flower, is a national flower. This was by decree in 1934. And a lot of us always just see Sampaguita with the Santo Niño or kids selling the Sampaguita on the string in the streets. Um, it's actually very rare now to see Sampaguita like that being sold in the streets because not a lot of people now grow Sampaguita. And we have sort of forgotten that it is our national flower. So it's bringing the spotlight back on what is truly ours. And right now, Lynette, when she joined us earlier, she was actually in the Sampaguita farm in Laguna because there is a renewed interest in the flower, and the farmers are surprised, pleasantly surprised. They've gone to the fact that the mayor of that city or of that municipality is meeting us because he's very happy that we are re-energizing interest in the Sampaguita. What we've done is we've actually gone back to the real meaning of why the Sampaguita is our national flower, which is Sampaguita symbolizes love, healing, wellness, and honor, dignity, and we have put it in all of the different senses that all of our guests will have a sensory experience of the sampaguita. It's not just a flower that you pick off or sell in the streets. The sampaguita is in the sense of sight. They will see us. You'll see the gentleman wearing sampaguita pins, at least the two gentlemen in the suits wearing sampaguita pins, where we have the 4 petals plus the one that has the Philippine flag on it. And then you'll smell it as you enter our hotels because we have a sampaguita scent in the lobby, in the public areas, in the rooms, in the cold towels that will freshen you when you are welcomed in all of our resort hotels. You'll taste it in our food. We now have our sampaguita food items inspired by and including sampaguita in the menu. You'll also hear it in the condiman songs that you'll hear at certain times of the day around the properties. So it's really all over. You'll feel it as we give you the healing power of the sampaguita in our wellness centers, our massage and our spa services. We'll have the sampaguita oil. I actually have 2 vials in my luggage with the sampaguita oil because I'm bringing them to Manila to test. So this is how I think obsessive we have sort of become with the sampaguita, and we are very proud to say that the sampaguita is our national flower, and the largest homegrown brand in the Philippines is bringing it back to the forefront. And this is not just us being green or being beautiful or smelling good, but it's also us promoting sustainability with the farmers having renewed interest in this, making it more profitable for them, teaching them what else they can do with the sampaguita because they never realize it can be turned into food or that the oils can be used in the spas. So the response has been overwhelming to our sampaguita project. We also have for food the a degustation series called the La Mesa. In all of the different areas. So for Cebu, we have the La Mesa de Cebu. For Iloilo, we have the La Mesa de Ilonggo, La Mesa Ilonggo, where in one of our series, we featured sampaguita. And interest was surprising. It was pleasantly surprising that it was so well received. And we will continue to advocate the love for everything local as we move along and as we open more properties in the future.
I'd love to see sampaguita get as popular as ube.
Yeah,
Like this whole
yeah.
ube. And when you're describing sampaguita, I started also thinking, and I think you had mentioned also that even Cebu is kind of similar to Oahu, Hawaii,
Yeah,
and so
yes,
I'd like to see like sampaguita be like as popular as Hawaiian Lays and the
yeah.
orchid.
The plumeria, right? As the
Yes,
plumeria.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that's something we can do because now with the renewed because the sapoquita plant is getting lesser and lesser. In Iloilo, we had a very difficult time looking for the plant itself, looking for the flower and then looking for the plant. So what we've done in support of our Me Green program and our sustainability program is to plant actually the sampaguita bushes around the hotels. So most of our properties now are planting and growing our own sampaguita. And we realized that the sampaguita it's a hardy plant. It grows anywhere. You just plant it and water it and it will bloom. So there you go. So it's also helping and supporting our green movement.
And I would say you say like sampaguita is also used in food, and I'm assuming because also a trend in teas also is you see a lot of tea like there's flower teas. I know like in Chinese, and also you see what's popular right now is hibiscus tea because that's one of my favorite teas. And then there's chamomile and all these like uh, is sampaguita, can you put sampaguita in that kind of direction too, like in drinks and so forth, teas? I'll
I
ask the
think
chef.
Ariel, I think Chef Ariel can answer that.
I'll ask the chef. He should. He might be the best person to answer that.
Well, yes, actually, thank you, Miss Tennie. Yeah, we're now using it as one of the main ingredient of the drinks, whether it's for a mocktail, a cocktail, or a tea. That's part of our Sampaguita project. And not only that, as mentioned earlier, we're using it as the main ingredient for our dishes. We have dishes that are smoked with dried Sampaguita petals. We have dishes that's infused with um, fresh Sampaguita, like the jam and the homemade cheese that we have. And it shows the versatility also of the Sampaguita flour and the beauty of it. That's basically one of the main reasons that we want to really highlight our national flower.
And would ice cream be a part of that project too?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. We're now having the Sampaguita ice cream rolled out all across properties of Megaworld Hotels and Resorts. And for Iloilo, it gets a lot of traction. For the first few days that we've had it, it's been sold out up until now because of the patronage also of our clientele.
And that's unique because, like we had mentioned, like it's the national flower, and that's I'd like to see kind of that, to put Philippines in the travel map. Like, yes, you could have ube, you could have lechon, and you could go to Mega Worlds, and you'll find every type of food that has, the national flower tied into it. So that's something that would even attract that's even attracting me, and I'm just like, oh wow, it makes me want to even go to Cebu now. I'm like, maybe let me aim 2024 in January. I do. We have a couple of minutes left, and I do want to ask everybody. So we had discussed, okay, Manila 5 days, and how long should and anyone could answer this. How long should how much time is needed to just explore Cebu, Mactan, to see Mactan, Iloilo, and Boracay? How many days would that take?
Okay,
Or
I might just answer first. Yep. Oh, after staying 5 days in Manila, you stay forever here in Cebu. Come home to Cebu. I'm kidding. No, you know what? What's so interesting about Cebu, Tenny? We have a lot of tourists who comes here to visit Cebu and even visits Bohol for the day. This is a very small island, and you just find everything here. Maybe 3 days might be good enough to really explore the entire island. 3 days would be enough because just for one whole day you can already explore Mactan Island, right? Even with that one day, you can visit other islands, nearby islands within Mactan Island. So aside from the lechon, you get to enjoy the sutukil in different islands. If you want to go to visit the main city, which is Cebu City, that's where all our malls are. That's where you're going to go shopping. We have our own version of Green Hills also here in Cebu. So aside from that's basically our first and second day. Our tourists even have one day remaining. The third day, they get to visit Bohol. So we don't have a property in Bohol yet, not yet. We don't have a property there, but it's going to be a good day trip. You go there first thing in the morning and you come back here in the evening. That's where you're going to take your flight going to Iloilo. 3 days would be good enough.
And I'm wondering, does Megaworld, with your hotels and resorts, do you offer like day trips, like to Bohol?
We do. We do. That's a good thing about Megaworld Hotels because all of our properties have our own tour desks. So go to the lobby, there's going to be a separate tour desk that's going to give you recommendations on what to do around the city. So maybe you want to go city tour, that's fine. That's where you're going to go shopping. If you want to go historic tour, that's where you're going to visit the Basilica del Santo Niño. And if you want to go island hopping and diving, that's available as well.
And I do have one last question, and I think I will refer that to Jean because from what I've learned, there is a Megaworld Hotel actually at the airport, and I'm a fan of airport hotels only because that I like staying there. My preference is to stay in a hotel close, or even if it's inside the hotel, because you don't have to worry about calling a taxi. You could easily get to the hotel within like minutes, and not miss your flight unless you oversleep. But there is a Mega Worlds, right? Hotel and the actual at Ninoy airport, correct?
Yes, that's correct. I think Jean is not in the link right now, but yeah, I'd like to answer that, Tenny. Yes, we
Okay, go
do.
ahead.
Yeah, we actually have two airports, right, in Newport City, Newport World, and it's located right across Terminal 3 along Andrews Avenue. I know this because I used to work there too. So it's located right at Newport Boulevard on Andrews Avenue. We have two big hotels that has a total of over 1,000 rooms available for travelers, for those who just want to stop by the city. One of them, the Belmont, is right at the other end of Runway Manila. So literally, you can literally walk from Terminal 2 um, all the way to the doorsteps of the Belmont Hotel. It's a runway, it's a walkway, it's an overhead walkway that crosses Andrews Avenue. And it will take you right to Belmont Hotel Manila, where you can spend a night or two or three, or just like what Joseph says, stay forever. And you're just a short walk away from the Grand Ballroom, which is right next to it. There is a mall also right next to it. A short walk away from the Belmont Manila is the Savoy Hotel Manila with over 600 rooms, where you can have a nice day by the pool, or just have a nice cup of coffee, or enjoy some of our Sampaguita menu in their cafe, and they're right there. They're right there across Terminal 3. If you are going through PAL, which is in Terminal 2, or through the main airport, which is in the NAIA airport, which is Terminal 1, you're also just a short ride away. Maybe it's a good 10 minutes right away. Or you can go through NAIA X, which is the expressway, and it will be even shorter.
And this is why, to our viewers who love to travel, consider staying at any Megaworld hotels and resort, whether you're going to Manila or Cebu. And I do want to ask, where else do you have property in the Philippines aside from Cebu and Manila?
Well, if you're in Manila, don't forget to extend another night or two and head down south to Twin Lakes in Tagaytay. Twin Lakes Hotel is a sprawling complex that we have. Geographically, it's actually located in Laurel, Batangas, but we call it Twin Lakes Hotel Tagaytay because all the rooms there have a fantastic view of Taal Volcano. And I mean, all rooms have balconies, all rooms have patios. You can hang out and watch the sunrise. There's a vineyard in that property where we also will soon open a wine cellar. There is a heated outdoor pool that's quite popular because Tagaytay, it's a little bit cool up there. So on those cold mornings or cold afternoons, you can take a dip at the heated outdoor pool. Twin Lakes is right at the area where you also have other restaurants aside from the F&B outlets that they have on property. There's a Santis, a Mary Grace, a little convenience shop, a short walk up the slope from the property. As mentioned earlier, we also have spend a day at Lucky Chinatown in Binondo, the oldest Chinatown in the world, where the hotel is directly connected with the mall. Another property that we have that is in the very first township of Megaworld is Eastwood Richmond Hotel. Eastwood Richmond Hotel has 138 rooms. They are directly connected to Eastwood Mall, and it's the first township that we have. Very busy. It's like Las Vegas. If you're there in that township, you don't know if it's morning or night because it's always hustling and bustling. There's also, I think there's a lot of condominiums. There's even a chapel. There's a church there inside Eastwood. So you can literally walk from the hotel to the church if anyone is looking to get married and you don't want
I was going to say, like Vegas.
Yeah, it's like Vegas. But this one is a real church. So if you're from the Antipolo, Marikina areas in Quezon City, because geographically Eastwood is located in Libis in Quezon City. So it's a beautiful hotel. It has a pillarless ballroom that seats 290, very popular for their food and very popular also for their service. They have a rooftop pool that's up, I think, on the 38th floor. So that's quite a view from the pool. I mentioned also uh, our property in Ortigas, which is right on San Miguel Avenue. This is the eldest sibling, our oldest property, which is Richmond Hotel Ortigas. And they also have a heated indoor pool, and it's right in the center of the central business district of Ortigas. So those are our other hotels that we have. So we have now a total of 12 hotels. Michi, maybe you can tell Tenny how many days she will need in Boracay.
Oh no, I'll
I
probably
think
stay there forever.
I think it's the same as what Jim Joseph has mentioned. No? Just to share also, we know a lot of personalities that stayed in Boracay already since the pandemic started. No, some are the beauty queens who lived or who's now living in Boracay Island, and a lot of tourists also who really fell in love with the place and now as a local resident also. So yeah, but on the average, our guest usually stays for about 3 to 5 days in the island to enjoy and they can transfer because from Boracay Island, you can just take a 4 to 5 hour road trip going to Iloilo, our neighbor. No, it's just that it's near. It's near. It's only a road trip going to Iloilo. Yeah.
Yeah, you let me know when those artistas, or actually if any K-drama stars ever go to Cebu, because I know K-drama is so popular in the Philippines that even the K-dramas, the actors and actresses are even um you know, they also do commercials in the Philippines, or models, or they model Bench or have sponsorship with Bench and other companies. So I'm more interested if you let if any K drama stars stay at any of your hotels.
Yeah, Bench had a photo shoot. Bench had a photo shoot in Savoy, correct? In Boracay, in our
Yes,
area.
yes,
So if you actually look at the
yes.
pictures of the Bench artistas, those are in Boracay in our property at the Savoy and Belmont.
Yeah, so those are
Yep.
things, and I also would love to one day meet Catriona Gray, because she did visit when she was Miss Universe. She actually came to New York, and she because she has a music background, and she studied music in I believe in Boston or somewhere, but she did come to my old it was like my old company, and she did like a guest appearance at like the schools that my old company had sponsored, and I was like, oh man, I missed my chance. And I learned some beauty tips from her. She did a vlog for Vogue a couple of years ago. But thank you to everyone, GM Jot, Natalie, Chef Ariel, Nietzsche, for coming on and share with us what Megaworld hotels and resorts has to offer specifically in your area, of which I'm going to let you know. I'm going to start planning how I could visit Cebu in January or anytime during 2024, because I'm actually more interested in that sampaguita. I really want to see the sampaguita menu, and just the whole the theme that you're going with in your hotel, and also to just check out the amenities. And I've also never been to Cebu, and I've learned so much. And I gotta have my dried mangoes with my lechon and bok choy too.
And bring home a guitar from Cebu.
Oh
Bring
yes,
home a guitar from
True,
Cebu.
yeah.
Mm,
yes. My degree is in music. I was a music teacher
mm,
for almost
mhm.
15 years. I don't play guitar, but I do own. If I own a ukulele, I have to have a Filipino guitar.
Yeah, you should bring home a guitar or two from Cebu. They make the best.
We agree.
And then whoever wants to serenade me with some OPM songs on that guitar.
No, we'll make that happen.
And I'm wondering, is there also I'm like, is also the parties that are offered? Do you have even? You gotta have karaoke or videoke. That's a Filipino specialty.
Any time of the day, yeah. It starts at 8 a.m. and stays on until forever.
Starts at 8 a.m. and ends at
Starts
8
at
a.m. So
Yeah,
There you go.
24 hours. But thank you all for sharing, and I can't wait to even check out or stay at any of the Megaworld hotels and resorts, whether it's in Manila or in Cebu or Tagaytay, which is also another I recommend that people who do go to the Philippines and are even for the first time, Tagaytay is one of the so beautiful up there. I haven't been there in almost 5 years. I think it's the last time I've been there was like 5 years ago.
you should go back.
Yes, time for me to go to the Philippines because it's more fun in the Philippines.
Yes, it is.
But thank you all for coming on. I appreciate it and learning a lot of what you have to offer.
Thank you, Tennie. It's been our pleasure. We hope to see you in person soon.
Yes, and
Thank you.
thank
Tennie.
you.
Here,
Yes,
Thank you,
Thank you so
Tennie.
much.
okay. And I'll just do my
Thank you.
and thank you to our viewers for chiming in. And if you have any questions, whether you want to go to the Philippines or anywhere across the world, you let me know, or you could reach out to TravelWise International, iTravelWise.com, and we could, curtail any itinerary, especially if you want to go to Cebu. We could fix that for you, especially anything if you now have an interest in going to Cebu and staying at Megaworld hotels and resorts. Smart People Travel Wise airs every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 noon Pacific. I'm Tennie Sumague. Catch you all next time. Take care.